Hey, everybody, welcome to My EdTech Life. This is your host, Alfonso, otherwise known as Tech Teacher 1381 in the Twitter world. But thank you so much for joining us today and making us part of your morning here on My EdTech Life. And today we've got a great show for you. Today we're going to be talking about libraries and tech integration. And who better to get for this than one of my dear friends from here, this local region in the Rio Grande Valley. So I'm excited to have her here because she does some amazing things with tech and tech integration. We have Karina here, otherwise known as Q the Librarian on Twitter. Go ahead and follow her. You can see her Twitter handle right there below. So give her a follow for some amazing tech library stuff. And Karina, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you being a guest on our show today. Karina, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. Give us a little bit of some of that Q the Librarian flavor.
I love it. No, thank you for having me. I am so excited to join you today and talk about my two favorite things, libraries and technology. So my name's Karina Quilantan, right? I'm also known as Q or Q the Librarian on Twitter and social media and stuff. But I am actually a library media specialist at a middle school called Jaime Escalante Middle School in PSJA, which is Far San Juan Alamo ISD, for those of you that are outside of the valley. And I've been an educator for 10 years. I've been a librarian for 5. I used to teach ELA prior to this, and I was always very involved in incorporating technology into my classroom. So when I became a librarian, it just kind of amplified that role and, the immersion of literacy and technology and multi-literacy in different aspects. So I'm just really stoked to talk about everything that's awesome in libraries and technology and how we can use it to get the let out.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. Like I said, I want to share, we were talking backstage, prior to the show, and I want to share the very first time that I met Karina. So I'm on Instagram, and, I post stuff on Instagram. While I was still in the classroom, we were using Makey Kits, Bloxels, we were doing all that good stuff and everything. And so I post that on my Instagram. And so one year I went to TCEA, and it was in San Antonio. And so I'm there just getting ready to go to the conference and walk. And as I'm walking in, all of a sudden I hear like, "Hey, it's you." And I'm like, okay. Mind you, I had never met her. I'd never seen her. Like, I didn't know that she was Q the Librarian. And then all of a sudden she's like, "Can I have a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you?" I was like, okay. And so I was telling her, like, she really, really made my day just because of that, And the great thing about it is, like, now, what I love is that we were connected on Instagram. We've never really met. And now through social media, through Twitter, we get to see and kind of interact with one another, see what great things each of us are doing and what the world is doing right now at this time and what libraries are doing. And so that's something that is great and wonderful. So I just wanted to kind of share that little story because now you're a guest here on my show. And I'm so happy. I had been looking forward to today because honestly, I see what you do for the libraries and the amazing things that you're putting out there and how you're getting your students involved. And even during this time of remote learning is something that's wonderful. And I think that maybe sometimes there may be librarians, people in those positions, and not even just librarians, but what you're offering and what you're doing can be something that can be used by teachers alike as well. So I really thank you for being here and just sharing all the awesome sauce, I love it. So Karina, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing your screen, and then that way you can go a little bit and talk to us about what it is that you'd like to share. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Those of you that are joining us live as well, please make sure you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, on my EdTech teacher page, Periscope, and Twitch. So we're on all those places. So all the awesome sauce is coming your way. All right, guys. So let me go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah.
And let us know what you want to share with us because you've got a lot of stuff. And we're going to share this wake up with everybody here today as well. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm very humbled that you, I guess, like the stuff that I share online, because ultimately, when I think of librarianship, I think of a network, I think of a network of like-minded educators, and not just librarians, technology directors, technology instructors, educators as a whole. Education is the umbrella, and we all play our different roles. And librarianship is so multifaceted. We can embed ourselves. I just learned this new term online, the phrase embedded librarian. We embed ourselves in multiple aspects in our school communities. And I feel that virtual learning really placed a highlight on the abundance of resources that our librarians and our libraries can provide. And the great thing about this, and the thing that I try to advocate the most, is that we've been doing this forever. Librarianship, library media specialists, librarian teachers, teacher librarians, we've been integrating technology for as long as I can even imagine, I'm sure. Because I'm just gonna kind of go back and say, I don't know if you've seen that meme circulate online where it says librarians were the original Google search, or the Google engine, search engine. We were the original search engine. And I love that, because that's true. I want to, library technology, just in the form of cataloging, has evolved so much, and librarians were literally computers cataloging all this information to make research and information accessible to their patrons. And now that everything's pretty much gone digital, we still see that form of, promotion for our digital platforms through the use of online catalogs. So when I think of libraries and technology, I just want to say, we've already been doing it, and one of the things that I've seen a lot of librarians take charge of in the past couple of weeks, I guess because we're preparing for the beginning of the school year, is taking charge of our digital catalog. And this is something that I definitely want to refine also, because there have been certain features in my cataloging system that I've neglected, And so when we're thinking about how are we going to get these books out to our students, how are we going to get the resources, the different information available on databases, how are we going to get them out to the teachers, to the students, to the administrators, to anybody that's, wanting that additional support. And, as you know, I don't know what you use in your district, but at our district, we use something called Destiny. And there's a really cool video tutorial by Shannon Miller, and she basically gives you a step-by-step for how to create digital collections in your cataloging system. So you can, if you're studying about sharks, she created a collection to include links, videos, the books that are available in the library. So it's almost like the equivalent of Wakelet.
That's what it sounds like. That's what I was saying. I was like, wait a minute. So it's got this and this, and wait a minute. Isn't that Wakelet?
Yeah. And it's all included in that platform that we already have available. And, one of the things that I definitely like to promote, and something that I like to, definitely advocate for, is to make sure that you are promoting and advocating for the resources that are available. So I know that we have a bunch of companies, and amazing companies, that were providing that free online access to their platform during the pandemic. However, going into this new school year, there's, the same companies are asking hey, are you willing to purchase this for the following school year? Unfortunately, that's not an aspect that I'm 100% completely in control of, because that'll fall under my administrator's role. And I'm willing to respect that. And I'm willing to do the research to promote the platforms that I 100% believe in. However, as a librarian, I have to be sure to capitalize on the resources that I have readily available. And one of the things that I definitely want to do is make sure that I teach my kids how to reserve holds and books within the cataloging system, first and foremost. And I know it sounds like something really basic, but ultimately, really, the cataloging system in itself is just one of the greatest resources that you can absolutely have. You can link it to different sites. You can include video. You can include book trailers. You have access to all your electronic books, your print books. So if you're a librarian here today, make sure that you take charge of your digital catalog, because I guarantee you that's something that's really going to amplify your online platform and, what you do to promote the resources that you have available at your campus. So on this Wakelet that I am sharing today, I did include a really neat tutorial by Shannon Miller that I've referenced for like the past couple of years, because I was really into kind of changing my catalog, and she did a really great job with this. I'm like super excited about it. And I just keep going, right?
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to interject here a little bit. I really like what you said, like in the intro too, as well, like, how you're able to embed yourself. And I think oftentimes really, I don't know, even like in, now online digital resources and online teaching, I mean, the librarian role is so important, because I think even though you may have a set curriculum, but additional resources that can add an additional layer to the lessons can be something that is very important. And I think that because everything may be given, just like, okay, here's what we need to do, or here's what needs to be covered, that oftentimes we just focus on that, which is great because we need to cover it. But what do we want to add that additional layer? And we need to find those resources. I don't think there's anybody anymore more knowledgeable within our districts than our district librarians. And they're a resource that has a wealth of knowledge, like you said, like the original Google search. It's like you come to me and say, hey, I'm looking for a book that maybe this is the quote. Oh, here it is. It's going to be, or because, last week I had Christina Holzweiss here, and, she took me back to my youth, like when I was young, and even back to elementary. I still remember Miss Ibarra, my librarian from elementary, when we still had, the little card catalog that you flip through the little cards. And then as I grew up and started having to learn how to do research, going to my local public library, and even became friends with the librarian there, that I would just go and she would ask me, Alfonso, okay, what are you writing about this time? And she would already direct me where to go. And that was prior to, a lot of the technology use or platforms that we have today. So I love that now the librarian reach is not just within the four walls of the library, and the librarian reach now is not just within the four walls of that school, but the librarian reach now is, everywhere. I mean, globally, nationally, globally. And today I know that we've got several of your colleagues and librarians that are here today because they're valuable. You guys are a valuable piece of education, and I love that. And so for you to make that comment and say, we can embed ourselves, I was like, I fully believe that with 100%. I can definitely back that up. And so thank you for sharing that, because I props to everything that librarians do, for sure.
Yeah, and I like that you say that we add that extra layer, because it's absolutely true. It took a while for me to get my staff. I mean, don't get me wrong, my campus is awesome. Like, my teachers are super supportive, my administrators are super supportive. But I think before I got there, they had a different perception, of how the library should function. And being a new librarian, let's say my first year, right? And I love to tell this story because I totally understand what the first year librarians are going through. I wanted to quit, like I was so overwhelmed. I didn't have an assistant. So I created a club of kids, and they helped me in the library with day-to-day tasks. And, that really helped me. I mean, ultimately getting the students involved and getting the teachers involved in what I was doing in the library, asking for their input, asking for their advice, in a safe manner, like sending out surveys, inviting them to lunch and learns, sending out emails, maintaining that additional outreach by sending out newsletters every 6 weeks, which my director highly recommends, because in its true form, librarianship is a form of advocacy.
Yes.
Roles encompass every form of advocacy. We are the liaison between literacy and, that home connection. And I want to make sure that my community is involved. I want to make sure that my community, first and foremost, is informed. We can't do our jobs effectively if we're not willing to seek the feedback of our stakeholders. So anything that I do,
I love that.
yeah, like anything that I do, I really try to make sure that there's a voice that reflects my students and my teachers. My Library Ambassador Club, I make sure that whatever programming we're doing in the library for that school year is run by that club. Like, I want to make sure that our kids are seeing themselves in the programming, in the books that we select. We sit together by my computer. Hey, look, these are all the books that we have that are about to be released. I want to make sure we put them on a wish list. I don't have all the money in the world, as much as I would love, but they help me with my collections. They help me with, okay, here's a new tech tool. How do you want to see it in the classroom? Okay, that gives me an idea how to teach that lesson in my library lesson for my rotations the following week. My teachers, anytime that I'm about to place an order for anything, or anytime that there is a tech tool that I want to introduce, what do you think about it? How can you foresee yourself using that in the classroom with your students? Okay, now that we have an idea, let's do it.
Yeah.
Book you in the library and we're going to go full-blown library tech up in this place. And they love it, and I think because of my enthusiasm for what I do, creates a culture of, enthusiasm for the library. So one of the things that I really, really, really enjoyed doing during virtual learning was digital badging with my staff. Oh, man. I was actually on a Zoom call yesterday with a fellow librarian from New York, and she was asking me, like, how did you prepare for the pandemic as a librarian? And I'm thinking, man, it was kind of tough because I didn't know what to expect. I think everybody was on the same boat, right? We don't know what to expect. We still don't know what to expect. I think the only thing that we can agree on is that this pandemic has been completely unpredictable, undoubtedly unpredictable. And when all of this first started, I just had this really strong feeling. I didn't even really enjoy spring break because I had a feeling that we weren't going to go back, and I emailed my teachers during spring break. I'm like, I don't know how many of you are not at the beach right now, but like, for anybody that wants to learn, just in case and I mentioned, just in case your department, or colleagues from different campuses are mentioning Google Classroom or a possibility of online learning. I mean, I'm the type of person that needs to be like 100% prepared. That's how I thrive. And told my teachers, if you're feeling the same way, if you're feeling anxious and you want to know, maybe we don't use it, for all we know, there's no cases in the Valley then. And, I was saying, just in case there's a possibility, I don't want to step on anyone's toes and say, yes, we're going to be teaching from home. I'm like, but for anybody that was interested in participating in these webinars on Google Classroom, G Suite tools, just a basic overview, let me know. Man, I had a lot of teachers attend.
Yep.
And I think it's because we were preparing. I mean, I don't know if anybody else had offered that guidance for their teachers that early on. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else other than maybe what I did for my campus. But, I'm glad that my teachers trusted me enough, and keyword trust, because it takes a lot for somebody to, especially teachers, to reach out and ask for help. Very, very, very humbled to say that my teachers trusted me enough to guide them and help them navigate through these, new virtual initiatives that we didn't even see coming. And, the feedback that I got from that, just something as simple as, how to create a banner in Google Classroom, because the first thing my mind goes to is, how do we make things look pretty, guys?
Wait, did you get a lot of emails saying, Karina, how can we get that gray overlay off our banner so we can see it clear?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I don't know how often that was the number one complaint. If I had my top 5.
I think that's awesome. Like the way you said, you just prepared. I mean, for our district too. I mean, we were, I didn't even know what spring break was because we started training right from that get-go, and just to see the numbers of teachers that were coming in for Google Classroom trainings, and then as this thing prolonged itself,
Yeah.
coming to the trainings, and now I'm busy every day doing trainings. We're doing our level 1 modules, and teachers are being successful at passing their level 1 exams and so on. And I think that just being prepared. But one thing that I love is just the passion that you exude, and I'm a very passionate person as well. That I'm one of those that I want to get everybody on board. I want to help everybody. I don't want anybody to be left behind or feel left out. And I just try to do my best to build everybody up. And once you build that trust and that communication, just as you've done in that culture, the teachers will trust you. They're going to look for you, and you're there to help them out. And that's what I'm here for. I mean, I think that's a nice quality as being that servant leader, knowing that you're leading these teachers, but at the same time you're serving them, and you're not, like you're at their level. And you're building them up. You like, hey, we're going to get everybody on the same page. And I think that that's very important. And so I love that passion that is really coming out, and seeing that. So I think that that's one of the things that really makes you very successful in what you do. So, I'm really happy that PSJA has you there. So that's awesome.
Thank you. No, I mean, and you're absolutely right. I mean, we were all pretty much, in the dark as far as, what we were going to anticipate or what was going to happen. And I wanted to make sure that I was doing something fun for my teachers, and it kind of started off as an inside joke, oh, yeah. Because I'm all about digital badging. I love micro credentials. I love learning about different platforms. I love knowing what's out there because, like I said earlier, I don't want to be in a position where somebody asks me about a new tool and I don't know about it. I want to know right then and there. Otherwise, for all I know, my teachers will get information elsewhere, and maybe and there's nothing wrong with going out and seeking tutorials on your own, right? But at least from my experience, what I can attest to is that my teachers prefer that one-on-one coaching, setting up those virtual office hours so that they can connect with me. I make sure to send out little notifications like, hey, for anybody that's online today, I'm going to be available from 3 to 4 every single day. Let me know if you need a specific time. We'll lay out the schedule, see what I can help you with. But for the most part, I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to make it engaging. And I'm pursuing a doctoral degree in the fall for technology. And one of the things I really want to focus, yes, we need more Hispanic people in higher ed.
I know.
And
hey, I might even see you in some courses.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'm pretty stoked about it. But one of the things that I really want to focus my research on is like the effectiveness of micro-credentialing in schools. And I really encourage my teachers to seek out that additional support by involving themselves in online courses for different media platforms that I really, really appreciate and really enjoy using in the library. So what I did was for every lunch and learn that I provided, I made my own digital badge and made sure to issue it to the teachers, whether they decided to pursue the digital challenge or, participated in the webinar. And it didn't just stop there. Like, showcasing their digital badges. I told them, whoever's willing, make your own bunsy and slap on your digital badges. I made this Wakelet collection for anybody that's interested within the Wakelet. Different certification and educator programs that I've participated in myself, and things that I really enjoy using that they can, access for their own learning, because there's only so much that I can do, especially when it's just me, and I tell them like, look, we're learning about technology in our lunch and learns, but just know that there are multiple avenues and venues for learning that you can access at your own time to get that additional support and extra experience. So in the event that there is, let's say, a certain obstacle that you face in your virtual instruction, there are multiple resources out there that can help you find the solution for what you need. And if you can't find the solution, that's what your librarian's here for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I really want to do with my staff this year, and I actually saw one of my teachers here. She's awesome. I've been telling her, I want you to be my guinea pig. You're gonna get all the digital badges. Like, you know, we're gonna pump up our staff. You know, I decided to pursue my Google trainer, my MIE trainer certification so that I can get my staff Google certified, you know, Microsoft Innovative Educator certified.
Mm-hmm.
And just so I know, it kind of serves as like not just a digital portfolio of my skill set, but a symbolic reminder of all the things that I've learned, but all the things that I still need to learn, because we know the technology moves at such a fast pace that it's hard to keep up with sometimes. So at least I know, oh yeah, I learned about Edpuzzle the other week. Let me see what updates are up there, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been making an ongoing list on my notes on my phone, like, okay, Flipgrid has updates, Wakelet has updates, Google Classroom has updates, Google Meet has updates, Bunsy has updates. And, you know, I'm just making an ongoing list so I know that, you know, none of my topics are, you know, exhausted, or that, you know, there's never anything to not talk about, because there's always something to talk about. And regardless if I've taught something before to my teachers and staff, there's always that new component of technology that they're always integrating, you know, little updates that they make from here and there. The autosave feature on Wakelet, you know, that's something that I can go over, because that was one of the things, like, oh, I have to constantly save it. Yes, but now you don't, you know, now you don't. Yeah. And now my students can access Wakelet on their mobile devices and be collapsed. So just like little things here and there that I'm making an ongoing list of, which I highly recommend to, you know, any librarian, is make an ongoing list. Whether you make that on Wakelet or notes on your phone or a Google Doc, make an ongoing list of the things that you see online, of certain updates for different technology platforms that you absolutely love, because I guarantee you, the person that jumps in, let's say I have a new teacher and all the updates that they just received as a new teacher just happened in July, and I taught about the topic in March, and they asked me the question in August and I don't know about it, you know, like, I want to be sure that I'm 100% prepared. And I think that preparation is key, especially right now. You know, we have to be readily available for anyone and anything, because that is what sustains the viability of our careers. You know, like, we see these unfortunate, you know, social media posts and announcements that, you know, librarian roles are being cut, you know, our funds are being messed with. And, you know, how do we advocate for ourselves? How do we promote ourselves? I like to say that in my own advocacy fashion, I like to pursue micro-credentialing, because it adds to my skill set and it shows my employer, this is what I know. I am a resource. I am knowledgeable. I can help you. So don't ever get rid of me.
No.
Don't get rid of me, because but you know, it is a form of advocacy, you know, involving ourselves in different technology initiatives, you know, asking to be part of those committees, asking to be part of the meetings, put me on the, you know, the staff meeting agenda. I ask every time. I ask my administrators, what are you talking about? Let me see what I can plug in here that might be relevant to what you're talking about. And even then, maybe it's just a quick, you know, what I call a Q-tip.
Yeah.
A little Q-tech tip that I can just kind of plug in there. And, you know, I want to be conscientious also of my teachers' time. And I want to be conscientious of the fact that they're all at different experience levels. So, you know, something that I definitely have to keep in mind is that we are all, you know, very much immersed in technology on a day-to-day life, you know, whether we're having it on our phones, on our computer, on our iPads, or just about, you know, anywhere. I do have to remember, as a trainer, as a technology trainer, that all my teachers are at a different level when it comes to technology. So, you know, I sent out a post survey at the end of the year saying, you know, I'm really trying to refine my skill for you. I'm not willing. I mean, I don't mind putting myself out there to ask for that additional feedback from you, because I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is consistent with your goals, is consistent with our school's vision, that's aligned to what we believe we should be doing as a school community to ensure the success of our students. So here's this feedback survey. What is something that you feel I need to work on so that I can tackle that in fall? And oh my God, thank God all the responses were good. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my God. I was like, these people, I hope nobody tells me I'm a weirdo.
No, but that's something that's key. And, it's something that's very important. Always get that feedback. And as much as sometimes you may, have some negative comments, but that only helps build you up. And so, at every training, that I do, the same thing, it's always like, here's the feedback form. I'm always looking to better improve my skills. Yes. What can I do different? Because if you improve and you change those little things, I mean, even something simple, so one day I got a feedback, it's like, hey, I'm following you on the screen, but I kind of lose where you're clicking. Yes. So then all I did was just change my mouse pointer to a different color, made it a little bit bigger, and just, to know those things, because those are things that sometimes don't cross our mind, but it makes a big difference, when you just do those tiny things, people can follow along, and feedback is always great. And like you said, also going back to micro-credentialing, I mean, being very proactive and finding out all these things that are free, that are out there that you can do on your own, and just simply follow the steps, that being proactive really shows your employer, like, wow, look at this person and what they've gone above and beyond to do. Because sometimes, teachers, we can, or us, we can be complacent and just say, oh, well, we'll just wait. And but like you said, you need to keep up with the updates, everything that's new, start putting out and say, hey, they've made these changes. This is what we're going to do now. It's all very important that we ourselves become very knowledgeable. We have our credentials to back all of that up. And then also, because then everybody that you help, they'll trust you because you've gone through it, you're gone through the process, and now you're building them up too as well. And I just love that relationship building, and that aspect is so wonderful and so great. So that's really excellent that you're sharing that, and especially these resources that you're sharing too with them, where they can go and be proactive and get some badges and start learning platforms that are free, that they can introduce into their curriculum. It's something that's awesome. So kudos to you, Karina. That's amazing work.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I actually started that collection, and then I saw, because of your post, because I love following everything that you post. Stephanie says, oh my God, you're such a Twitter stalker. I know it. I'm trying, there's power in numbers, there's power in connecting. And the librarian that I was chatting with yesterday, she said, you are a connector. You're part of this, professional learning community that advocates for librarians across the Rio Grande Valley called, RGV Library Squad. Mm-hmm. Make sure everybody follows. I created this community for, this professional learning network community called RGV Library Squad with my fellow librarians from Harlingen, Bilia Garcia, Ali Cornejo, and Stephanie Galvan, who's originally from the Valley but moved to Austin. And, we just saw that glaring absence of, something that we wanted to see in the Valley was making sure that we had a network available to local librarians where we could connect, where we could share, collaborate, and basically just build each other up, empower each other to share ideas, to encourage ourselves and each other to go beyond our comfort zones, because it's very easy to get stuck in a rut. And it's very easy to just maintain, the day-to-day actions of the library, check in, check out, computer help here, computer there. But for the most part, I like having that accessibility to educators with different mindsets and different experiences that can help me grow as a librarian, yes, but as an educator and, as somebody that can, really interact with a community of people that can bring our educational institution to a completely different level. And I think that's where things are going now. I think people see the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the benefit, and I wanted to use a different word, but people see the benefit of how important it is to make sure that we are aligning our curriculum with technology components. And I think that's something that's often been overlooked, and when I was making the Wakelet collection to try to, make a list of different micro-credentialing that my staff can participate in, I saw that somebody already did it, and I forgot her name, and I should have mentioned it on there. She's the one that did the badge ed tech page.
Oh, Rachel. Yeah, she was on our show about 4 weeks ago. Rachel Code Hub, or Code Hub. Rachel Code Hub. I did put the site on there if you are interested. It's sites, google.com. Anyway, I'll put the link in here. And you can find in all badges, credentials, and everything. She is a Google innovator. And so this is her project as a Google innovator. She had the same mentality like you're thinking of saying, I want to produce a central hub where teachers can go and find their badges, find everything that's out there that is free, that they can do on their own, self-paced, and that they can go ahead and obtain a badge, put it in a portfolio. And of course, you've got those credentials to help you be more marketable, and grow. And like you said, have that reminder of what you know and what you can do for people. So that's awesome. So I just popped in her site right now.
Yay. Awesome. Yes. That was just inspirational. And I'm like so happy to know that she's a Google innovator, because that was taking a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I was just thinking, oh my God, where is everything? I need to make a hub. And then I saw this awesome educator do the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, okay, see, that's the power of social networking. That is the power of creating your professional learning network, or as you like to say, your professional learning, your family. And I love that. I love that because we all share the same love for teaching. We all share the same love for learning. And, I think the most important thing about being an educator is making sure that you stay in tune with your inner learner. I want to make sure that I am just as good as the things that I put out there. If I am going to promote something, I want to be 100% in the know and experience with what I'm promoting out there. And, I know it's not something that people like to talk about necessarily, because, when we think of standards and learning frameworks, our mentality automatically goes to standardized testing.
Yes.
Like, oh no, another standard I have to teach. But it's a really great way to align what you want to do and how you want to do things. So when I think of technology in the library, I have to sit back and think, okay, these things are fun, and yes, the activity with Makey Makeys or Dot and Dash or with Scratch, Bloxels or, Oso bots or Osmos, like, yes, all of those things are awesome. All of those things are fun. Yes, I'm creating a really fun activity, but what are the kids getting out of it? What are my teachers going to get out of it? So I make sure that I'm referencing the learning frameworks that I like to use throughout the school year. The Texas School Library Standards, they made a really cool infographic that's just like straight to the point, talking about information literacy, inquiry, reading, digital learning, safe and nurturing environments, and leadership. So it's like, how do we integrate all those learning standards in a virtual space? So, I was going through the other day and thinking, okay, how am I going to apply all these standards? There's ISTE standards, not just, so I'm an educator, right? I'm a librarian though. So not only am I thinking of the TEKS, I'm thinking of the TEKS, the library standards, the technology standards laid out by ISTE, and a future ready librarian standard. So like my lesson plan looks like nothing but standards, but I want to make sure that whenever I'm incorporating some form of technology, whether it's my favorite Buncee or Wakelet or Canva or, Mac and Via or whatever databases I'm promoting, is going along with the standards that I want to align with. Because I know that the first question that my administrators are going to ask is, how is this impacting student learning? How can we track the data and do, how is their learning growth being tracked? What is it that they're getting out of it? How can we make their learning tangible at the same time, aligning it to what we have to do in our curriculum? So anytime that the teachers come to me, and I love working with the social studies teachers specifically, because one, I'm a history buff, and two, they're just a really fun group. But they make it so fun. Like, for history, we do digital passports, so anytime that they're exploring a different country or a continent, there's a stamp on their digital notebook, and it's like, well, what is that connected to? So I go back to my standards and think, oh, it meets this aspect of librarianship. It meets this aspect of, the standard. So I wanted to make sure I included that in the collection, because I don't think that that's something that we need to overlook. I think it's something that we really need to, think of and incorporate thoughtfully, so that we're making meaningful impact and meaningful strides for our students. Because ultimately the goal is to make sure that our kids succeed, right? But in order for the kids to succeed, I need my teachers to succeed. So I want them to know that, like, hey, yeah, you have to integrate all these standards, but just so you know, so do I. Like, we're all in the same boat. I'm not behind my desk all the time. I'm not reading every book in the library like that stereotype. I have standards to abide by also. I have things that I need to do, and what I do incorporates your role also. So as long as we create that partnership and mutual understanding that we're both in it to win it, and we're both in it with the same goal in mind to have our students succeed, then I think that's ultimately where the true partnership is formed, that the teachers are aware that we are just as much as an educator as they are, because we have all these, yes, we went to school for library science, and yes, we may have this extra credentialing, but at the end of the day, I want to be that person that they trust to go to and that they know that they can relate to.
Yes.
So that they're not afraid to ask for my help, and, when we're thinking about virtual libraries and how I'm going to connect that to my staff this year, I'm used to being on a rotation for classes. So I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to bring Library Day online, like we're going to meet on Google Meet. I'm going to have a set schedule. Just like my teacher was supposed to meet with me on Wednesdays, we're going to meet on Google Meet on Wednesdays. And the same lesson that I was going to do with them in the library, I can somehow adapt it and, refine it for online learning. So I know a lot of the questions that I get from librarians, especially like in my messages, like on Facebook or Twitter, on Instagram, it's like, how do you do this? How do you do that? Well, just planning it out. And the way you plan it out is by going back to your standards and see where you can plug in those different tools to help you navigate, what you're going to do throughout the school year. So, some of the things that I've done in the past is like virtual read alouds, virtual makerspace activities using social media so that my kids have that access, recording them so they have access to it in Google Classroom, creating a virtual library on Google Classroom, not just for the students, but for my staff also, where they can access resources that they can, reference to at a later date, or for like self-paced learning, using those online databases, because I know that the majority of my teachers do focus on research throughout the school year. So I want to make sure that those are accessible. And I don't know how much heat I'm going to get from this, but I saw a lot of teachers and educators focus on their Bitmoji classrooms, right? And I love it. They're so cute. Don't get me wrong. Oh my God, they're adorable. They are adorable. I love them. But being a librarian is also reminding teachers about copyright,
Yes.
Copyright. And as much as I loved the Google Classrooms and I love that my teachers are getting on that bandwagon too, a part of me has to say, okay, just so you know, whatever images you're looking for online need to be for free use, for free reuse, and, teaching copyright and citations. And we think that all of these things are just for students, but it's for teachers too. We forget too. And it's very easy to go online and just grab something. And part of our job as a librarian is to make sure that they're navigating a virtual space safely, ethically, and responsibly.
Yes, and that's one thing that I wanted to say, because in all of this, what I'm seeing in my head, the big picture of this too as well, is you meeting with your students, having those digital lessons, they're building up their digital literacy skills, and then learning several platforms that later on they can go ahead and integrate in all their multiple subjects. But more than anything too, the digital citizenship, which is something that is very important, how to act respectfully online, how to use appropriate pictures, copyrights. And I had Mary Alice Curran on the show, and she's a big digital citizenship advocate over there from the New Jersey area in that sense. And what she liked to call it, and now I'm going to use it too, it's a hashtag digital sportsmanship, because digital citizenship, she calls it, she says, it sounds too strict, But digital sportsmanship, it's like you're taking those skills and you're working together as a team. You're helping each other out and you're watching out for each other instead of, no, you can't do that, or no, you can't do that. Let's not talk about the no's, what you can't do, what you can't do's, but let's talk more about what the you can do's, and build each other up with that digital sportsmanship. So in my mind, when you were saying that, I was like, this is a great way to introduce those digital citizenship or sportsmanship skills and the digital literacy, which is so important. So kudos for that, because that's amazing right there, those opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'm going to start using that now. I made a collection of copyright resources for my staff, and I called it digital citizenship something. So now I'm going
sportsmanship.
Yeah, now I'm going to change that because I love that. And yeah, that encompasses so many different things. I love that.
I was like, so shout out to Mary Alice Karan. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I know I get to participate with you in Digital Sportsmanship Week coming up in October. So I'm excited. But a big shout out because now it's a hashtag digital sportsmanship. All right. So thank you, Mary Alice.
Yes, I love that. That's perfect. I'm going to add that to my calendar. I make a digital calendar on Google Slides. And I use it not just for planning, but also to, I send it out to my teachers so that they are given in real time updates about when the library is being used and all that. So I'm going to add that to when it's Digital Citizen Week or, digital sportsmanship. I'm totally for that because you're absolutely right. We work together to, we talk a lot about working as a network and working collaboratively, but we need to make sure that we're keeping in mind that we're doing this ethically also, not just to share, but to share things ethically and responsibly, and that we're creating that safe and nurturing environment, not just for our students, but for our staff, so that everyone feels validated in their learning. I want to make sure that everyone feels empowered. By the end of the day, I just want to make sure that everyone feels empowered and that everyone feels, useful and knowledgeable about the things that they're going to be utilizing throughout the year. So, I'm absolutely 100% grateful to be where I am right now. I absolutely love my campus. I love my staff. I love my administrators. And I love that I'm in a role that can reach so many audiences and that I can use my platform to advocate, not just for my profession, but for my students, for my community, for my staff, everybody. Because we're all in this together and we're all going in with the same vision and goal in mind, is to make sure that we succeed together and that no one's left behind. And, just being that available resource for my staff is something that's very humbling and something that I just absolutely love. And which is why, I want to go back to school also to expand my reach in that, because it's something that I'm very passionate about. And I want that energy, to rub off on everybody else. I want to know that this is, if you weren't putting technology at the forefront of your curriculum, just know that you need to do that now. You need to do that now. And if it was something in the back of your mind or something that you've maybe haven't 100% incorporated, now's the time. If you didn't do it yesterday, you can do it today. There's no shame in saying that, I haven't done that yet. It's okay. Because like I said, we're all at different levels. We're all at different experiences. And just because you didn't incorporate something last year doesn't mean that you can't go in full blown in August, And if you need that help, reach out to your librarians. We are awesome. We're knowledgeable. We're trained for this, guys. We're trained for this.
Exactly. No, that's awesome, Karina. And so I just want to thank you for being here on the show today. And really, I love that I got to share your energy with everybody that's out there watching, and some of the things, like you said, that I am right alongside you, is being that connected educator. And that's the whole purpose of this show, My EdTech Life. It's not a show where you just come in and you have Q&A and I ask you 5 questions and you leave. It's so people can get to know you, they get to see you, they get to know your experiences, and they get to see that you're approachable, and that anybody in the Twitterverse, in the Facebook world, or in YouTube, or anybody that's watching this today, that they feel comfortable enough to go and reach out and ask for that help and say, hey, and of course that's starting even with our staff members, your teachers and so on, but it's all about being connected. And so thank you so much for, being here today. And I am so honored because again, I see the amazing things that you're doing on your Twitter and with your students, and, that passion really, really shows. So I'm excited, and I've had a lot of fun this morning just with sharing with you and waking everybody up with this enthusiasm and laughter in the Google. So everybody out there that's watching, thank you so much for joining us today. But before we leave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in a Google form in here. If you can go ahead and fill that out, and it'll be for a chance to win some My EdTech Live stickers here that you'll get. So go ahead and fill out that form, and we'll select a winner later on today. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you guys that are tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. I really appreciate it. And again, we had a stellar guest stellar guest today. Q the librarian. Look her up. There's her Twitter handle. Look her up on Instagram. Look her up on. She's got her YouTube channel too as well. She's got her Twitter account. Like always, she's putting out the awesome sauce. Literally, anytime I see any of her posts, it's always hashtag awesome sauce because she really brings it, guys. And thank you for all the ladies that joined us today from the RGV Library Squad. Lispy the librarian, I'm looking your way too. Maybe a future invite here to the show. Doors always welcome for the amazing things that you guys are doing. So thank you, appreciate it, Mr. Teniente. Thank you so much for being here. Those Q-tips for sure are definitely awesome.
I love it.
So that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We will be having another show right now at 11 a.m. and it's going to be the Virtual Innovator Academy chat. It's going to be just an informal chat for several of us that signed up to be in the Google Innovator Academy, the virtual academy that's happening. And we're just going to share our passions, share our inspiration. We're going to go ahead and just talk about our how might we statements and how we can go ahead and share that passion with everybody else so they can go ahead and apply in the future as well. So that'll be coming up right now at about 11 a.m. But thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and sign out now, but you can catch this podcast later on today. It will be uploaded on Anchor. The Wakelet collection will be uploaded, and we'll check you guys later. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Wave. Bye-bye.